Hey, what's up, guys? Right, so this morning I was gonna move the engine over on the TC3 to get these gears lined up so I could drive it after the crash I had yesterday. So that's really all I have to do. It's not gonna be much. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to replace these 4 screws right here, and I'll probably find something here out of my screw case. Gotta be something in there I can use. Most of those screws are for low-C, so they're probably going to work on this little guy. To give you an example real quick, I want something longer, something probably like this little guy right here. And maybe I can give you a little bit of a view of that. That's going to be the screw I'm looking for. Now that's a flathead screw, but I don't really care. Flatheads are alright with me. So anyway, a little bit longer than what I've got in there right now. See if I can show you that. Yeah, so I mean, you can see these things are so loose, and they probably don't even want to come out. Here's what I bought online as the standard screws for the motor mount, and I'll put this one in here too so that you guys can see the difference with what I'm going with. So those are the differences there. You can see the difference in length. So I'm going to go with the one that you guys are looking at on your left-hand side, the flathead. And that should give me what I want. Looking at the threads, they're definitely not the same, okay? I could look for something in here with a little bit of a finer thread. That may help me out, may or may not. If I can cross thread it, I really don't care. I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to buy another set of motor mounts, but I will if I need to. So. See, that one looks a little bit more promising. Actually finding a little bit of a finer thread in here. This is over here, so here we go. Let's see. So it's starting to screw in, and that's the stripped end. I definitely can tell I'm getting past that strip part of it. And okay, it's going up all the way in. Come on, come on. So once I get my bite, so much better. So much better, guys. So that's what we're going to do, okay? We're just going to switch these out real quick. Alright, guys, so now that I've got these screws in, I am going to Loctite them down like that, but that's just kind of a habit I've trained myself to do. So now that I've got my mesh lined up here and it rolls nice and smooth and it's not too loose, I am going to remove the headlamp, and I'm going to Loctite my screws. So we'll take this one out. If I can, when I Loctite, I like to put it in the hole and not in on the actual screw itself. That's another preference for me. I don't know if everyone likes to do that. Another thing, when you use your Loctite, make sure you shake it up before you put it in. So again, I like to drop it in the hole and then put the screw in. That seems to get more of it in the threading for me. I'm just going to go finger tight, really. Not too tight, but tight enough. Alright, so we'll take this one out. Drop some Loctite in the hole. I don't like to get too overdo it on my Loctite. It gets messy and I like it to be clean. However, once you have problems, you tend to not want to see them again. So, you know, a little bit of extra Loctite never hurt on these motor mounts. And next time I run the TC3 with these new screws, it's going to be a lot better, because I ran it the other day with Mr. BRC on the phone, and those old tiny screws wanted to unscrew. They wanted to come loose and actually was causing it to slip. And you know, if it would have cost me another $10 in the two spur gears, I would have been pissed, to be honest with you. Now, I'm always pissed, so that's nothing new to most people who know me. But, you know, hey, that's the way it is, right? So there we go. We're back in action. The TC3, let this Loctite set today. You know, it's probably going to rain, so I'm probably not going to get any run time. I really am wanting to go to the track with this TC3. Alright, guys. And there you go. You see our meshes lined back up. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there it is. It's nice. Perfect. So TC3 is back in action. I don't know where I'm going to put it. Yesterday I broke in the Paloma Novarosi. Oh, that mesh is nice. So basically, what's going on here with this motor is I ran about 10 tanks of gas through it yesterday to break it in. Everything ran real good, but when I cleaned it off, before I brought it inside, I noticed that the clutch bell is spinning with the wheels. So if I spin the flywheel, the clutch bell moves too. So something's going on with the clutch in there. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Huh. So it's actually spinning the flywheel. So what actually has happened is, and this is my own fault, I may not have Loctited that nut. And that is the flywheel has, actually no, what it is the flywheel nut has slipped off, I can tell. And what it's doing is it's allowing the flywheel to spin free of the shaft. So I can tell that clutch nut, or that flywheel nut, is loose. And the clutch is spinning on the shaft. When I spin the shaft here, it's actually turning the motor over. And that's nice because the Paloma is not quite as tight as I thought it was at the top. So now I need to figure out how I can stop this thing. So that's the one way I'm going to do it. See if I can put some pressure with my two fingers here. I mean, I know it's metal, but if I can just get it to catch the slightest bit, I got it. So, I mean, if I wouldn't have been able to get this thing off, I don't have a problem taking the back plate off and pinching the motor shaft with something. But, you know, I could feel it with my hands that when I pressed it, it would bite down on that shaft. So, you know, lesson learned here is make sure that you Loctite your... That's a little stiff too. But again, the flywheel, I probably shifted up. And it is jammed on there. So one of the best things that you guys can use for your clutch nuts to drive them on is going to be your glow plug remover. If you have one of these, if you don't, I recommend getting it. It works way better than the shit you see on YouTube where these guys are using these things. I don't really care what you want to use. But I can tell you this thing right here, man, I should have used it. I know I didn't use it on this. And if you watch here, I could probably pop this flywheel right off. I don't really want to though. I'm not gonna. Don't really care. I know it'll come off. Alright, so gonna have to put some Loctite on here. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is use a little bit of this brake cleaner and just clean off the inside of this clutch bell real quick because I've got it off. So I'm going to spray a little bit of it on this napkin and then just wipe the inside out. Oh yeah. There we go, guys. So to get my exhaust pipes on, what I like to do is put a little bit of after-run oil on the gasket. Okay guys, so one thing I just learned is that on these engines that have these little carb gap regulators with the different colors, they actually hide a portion of the slide so that there is actually a gap there. However, when you see it with the shim piece in here, the regulator, it is almost invisible. So yeah, the carb, it looks like it's not open when this is in, when in reality it's actually open about a millimeter, and I just shortened that a little bit. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and plug my fuel line right back into my carb intake. So we're good on that. We will put our air filter right back on where we got it. And, you know, probably an hour or so, this Loctite will be safe on the motor screws there. So there it is, guys. Oh yeah. Perfect. Savage. Alright guys, so on the Savage I've got to put my, that's just like I told you, I've got the F3.5 engine here, which looks pretty badass with that black head. This F3.5 is a tough engine. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's as strong as the 4.6, but I was really impressed with this version 2, 3.5 that I bought. And I, was working with these stock engines like the F3.5, the F4.6, the Maxstar .28, and those engines I was working on my tunes on. And I was really able to get good action out of the F3.5 with some help from the guys at RC Nitro Nerds forum. And I also was able to get some good performance out of the Maxstar .28, which you guys have seen before. So I'm going to put this Dynamite 086 pipe right here on the F3.5. Before I do that, I have one piece of adjustment I have to make. First of all, the F3.5 is in here because of this. It's got the pull start. So that's one thing I needed for the Savage. Second thing is that the mesh on this motor, it's fine in the forward motion. It's not so bad. But if you listen, it's too tight. What's going on is the motor screws that are right here under this part of the TVP is actually hitting, and I can't move it over. There's room in the screws underneath to move the motor up this direction, but I can't because the screws are hitting this mount right here. Now, I did change the regular screws with button head screws, but I'm going to have to use the flat heads, and I should be able to get out a little bit more, or, just probably grind just a slither of a hair of a top off of those button heads, and it'll probably slide right under. I mean, it's hairs that we're talking here. So that's what I got to do. I've got to move this engine over just a little bit, which I have the skid plate off, so I can do that. And what I've got to do is figure out a way to either shave off the top of these button head screws, or actually first I'm just going to try a flathead and see if I can't get it. All I need is about 1 millimeter, and that's going to go away. I know that's backwards, but it's just easier for me to do it. So anyway, guys, that's all I really have left to do with the Savage. Now that I had the problem with the Paloma motor on the Trophy with the flywheel nut coming loose, I'm going to have to double check those, I think, on the B5, on the Low CA 2.0 buggy, and on the .28 Legend motor on the Truggy. So I don't want those nuts coming off. And especially on the buggy here, I have the Buku clutch. So, anyway, guys. You can see outside here, storms are moving in. It's kind of grayish and cloudy. So I'm going to go ahead and go clean a pool. And it's by the field I want to go to. Maybe I can get some run time in on this Paloma for you guys. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Tonight I'll show you guys what I'm going to do with the Savage, what I just explained to you. And we'll do that together.